The outer core is within 900 to 500 kilometers deep. It is followed by the mantle. The mantle again is divided into upper mantle. The upper mantle is mainly olivine, amphibolites, and peridotites. Don't mind those jargons. They are just basic rocks. After the upper mantle, we have the Earth's crust, which is a zone of interest. The thickness of the Earth's crust, which is this, varies from 0 to about 100 kilometers, depending on what part of the globe one is. So you have the hills, the valleys, the ocean, and so forth, occupying the crust. The crust itself is also divided into two. We have what we refer to as the continental crust, as well as the oceanic crust. The continental crust is made up mainly of silicon and aluminum, which we refer to in geological jargon as acidic. And the oceanic crust is usually contains or made up of silicon magnesium. And we refer to that as SIMA. Because of their color, silicon magnesium is dark. So we refer to that as basic rocks. So we can see that on top of the core and the mantle, molten magma can originate. We'll come to that later. Flow through the mantle, where it occurs as melted material, and eventually gets into or through the crust, where it cools. Now, that's the way rocks are formed. But I've just mentioned that we have in the crust acidic rocks containing essentially silicon and aluminum, and oceanic crust containing basic rocks, silicon, and magnesium. Rocks can therefore be divided into three different types. We have the igneous rocks. We have the metamorphic, we have the igneous rocks, we have the sedimentary rocks,
I don't know about all that one.
and we have the metamorphic rocks. What are igneous rocks? If you look at what I've put up as figure 2 on my screen, you can see that there is the melting of rocks, of earth materials from the core and the mantle. And this results in what we refer to as magma. This flow up through the system as molten rocks, They eventually come to the surface or even internally and get solidified. From these molten rocks, therefore, igneous rocks, we have rocks like granites, diorites, dolerites, basalts, and one that will interest all of you, pegmatites. In geology, the pegmatites are the last set of rocks or part of magma to come up. So they come up with all sorts of mineral types. For the layman, we refer to pegmatites as rubbish rock because it contains virtually all types of rocks. It's when this rock got to the surface and they cool suddenly, it affects what we refer to as their texture. They could be coarse-grained or medium-grained or very fine-grained, as you find in basalt, in the Jos area, for instance. The next set are the sedimentary rocks. The sedimentary rocks originate when particles settle out of water or air, or by precipitation of minerals from water. That is, we have erosion of existing rock materials. They get transported either by wind. If you look at that figure 2, you can see that igneous rocks get weathered, eroded, transported, and deposited as sediments. If you look at the right-hand portion of that diagram, they eventually get buried as layered rocks. When these existing rocks or pre-existing rocks are affected by pressure and temperature, they turn into what we refer to as metamorphic rocks. Example of sedimentary rocks that you are familiar with include sands, the ordinary sand you see each day, the sandstone, which is cemented sand, clay, shale, limestone, that you are also familiar with. Metamorphic rocks, some of them include gneisses of various types, schists, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with marble because they form decorative materials. So that's the way minerals are formed, through as components of rocks. Now, when we look at minerals, therefore, and we look at their varieties and the way they've been formed, we can group minerals into several groups and types. The first group I will want to mention is the metallic and semi-metallic group of minerals. Many of you are familiar with this type of minerals. Some of you are wearing some right now. Gold, silver, copper, iron, manganese, aluminum, tin, nickel are examples of metallic and semi-metallic minerals. You have non-metallic, which includes things like potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, sodium. The third group, again, I'm sure you are very interested in, we refer to as gems. These include quartz of various types, beryl, corundum, diamond, sapphire, agate, emerald, etc. We have another group, the fourth, which we refer to as industrial materials or construction and manufacturing group. In this group, you have sand, clay, gravel, building stones, talc, mica, and so forth. Again, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. In addition, there's the ones for fertilizer and chemicals, like limestone, phosphate, potash, salts, nitrates of various types, and fluorides. Don't forget, we have another group of minerals called energy group. In the energy group, we have coal, oil, gas, bitumen, and uranium. However, there is another group people never think about as a mineral, and it's what we all use every day, every time, every moment, and that is water. Believe it or not. Water, I can say, is also some form of mineral. Now, how do we search for these minerals? This is where we come to or define as mineral exploration. Mineral exploration involves a wide range of activities aimed at searching for minerals or determining the extent of a mineral discovery or deposit. You will find there's a difference between discovery and a deposit. Later on, we shall mention this, because it's one thing to find that, oh, there's limestone here, or there's quartz here, or there's marble here. But is it in the deposit enough to be economic, large enough to be considered as a deposit, not just a showing? So mineral deposit, we can define as a place in the Earth's crust where geologic processes have concentrated one or more minerals at greater abundance than in the average crust. Where geologic processes have concentrated one or more minerals at greater abundance than in average crust. There's a difference. Again, when we talk of minerals, we have ore deposits as distinguished from the gangs. The ore deposit is a mineral deposit that can produce to make profit. The amount of known ore in a deposit is what we refer to as reserves. If the reserve is good enough, then you are excited. If not, you leave that reserve until prices increase and you can mine it profitably. The concentration of a commodity in the ore determines the ore grade. It can be rich, it can be high, it can be medium, it can be poor. The gang is the waste disposed of in tailings. Again, when we start talking about the effect of mining, you will find where the gangs play a prominent role. The ore type we want to search for include the following: magmatic ore deposits, such as disseminated ores, we refer to them as sulfides. In geophysics, we say they are specks or veinlets. They are highly conductive, but they are not heavy. So the method of exploration is slightly different from what we use for vein deposits, such as gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc. The second group, massive sulfides, they are of great volume, high density, highly magnetic, high conductivity. So again, the methods used for exploration will be slightly different. Then you have pegmatites, you have kimberlites, and you have hydrothermal deposits. In addition, you have sedimentary ores, placer deposits such as gold, copper, iron ores, laterites, and phosphorites. The sequence that we normally employ in mineral exploration include the following. First is reconnaissance mapping, which includes geology, geochemistry, geophysics, and various airborne surveys. At this point, the risk is extremely high. If there's good showing, and we've carried out interpretation, then we do an initial follow-up. In other words, we do more geological field mapping, more detailed geochemistry, more detailed geophysics in the areas that we have marked. The geophysics here includes aeromag, aerodensity, aeroradiometry, and aero-EM. These days, we can use remote sensing and put all of it on the GIS platform, which makes everything easier. The risk is still quite high. At this point of initial follow-up, we'll do some limited drilling so that we can go back to the lab and do an assay. If it's still good, then we follow with a detailed follow-up. Here we do more drilling and metallurgical testing. The risk is still high. We follow up now with feasibility studies, drilling, stroke metallurgical testing. At this point, we start thinking of mine design and trial mining. The risk becomes moderate. Once we are satisfied and that, yes, the reserve is good, we then do construction and mine development. This involves site construction, drilling, and then ground and/or surface mining. Of course, at this point, the risk is low, but no profits. You are just spending money and resources. This is followed by extraction and beneficiation of the ore. That is, we use various mining concentration methods depending on what type of deposits we are talking about. This is the point at which you get happy that at least your investment is likely to yield some form of profit. The profit is not tomorrow. It takes a few years. So please, let's note that. Don't think you go into mining and immediately you start reaping your profits. Once the mine is set, the next thing is to exploit the mineral. Two main methods: surface mining. We have open pit or strip mining. This could start from about 1-2 kilometers, 0 to about 1.2 kilometers deep. After that, we go into underground mining to get the deeper deposits. Many mines could go up to 3-4 kilometers depth. This is where you create tunnels and shafts to reach the deposits or resource. Modern mining methods have improved all of this. You have automated mining and all the rest these days. And you have placer mining. Again, this is very important. Placer mining is done in riverbeds and channels, especially sedimentary environments. And that's what we refer to as panning. You find it in those areas, as well as in areas like tin. For many who eat local rice, and you want to separate your stone from your rice, that's the process we use in placer mining. There's also in-situ mining, which involves the use of chemicals. But like I said, these days, mining has improved considerably. Methodology has improved, technology has improved all of this. What are the uses of minerals? There are many. Earlier on, we talked about the metallic and semi-metallic: gold, silver, copper, iron, aluminum, tin, nickel. Some uses of these minerals include the auto industry, electrical wiring, aircraft, and cans. You will find that apart from your gold, silver, and so forth, the other set of minerals which is becoming very important these days is nickel and lithium, you will find later on. They are non-metallic minerals: potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, which are used in the cement, ceramics, glass, and lime product industries. Of course, you know your gemstones, or quartz, beryl, corundum, diamonds, silver, and so forth, used in jewelry and mobile phones. There are the industrial materials, construction and manufacturing, the sand, clay, gravel, building stones. We use them to manufacture concrete, bricks, pipes, building houses, and roads. In the fertilizer and chemical industries, we have the limestone, phosphate, potash, salt, nitrate, fluoride. These are used as chemical fertilizers, as well as in the pharmaceutical industries. The energy minerals: coal, oil, gas, bitumen, uranium. They are used for generation of electricity, fuel for transportation, heating homes and offices, manufacturing of plastics, and so forth. The potential hazards of mining. It's good. We've gone through all of this. We're excited about what we have. But there are a lot of hazards. The major ones include environmental, health, and equipment. Environmental hazards include erosion, especially when we start a process, even of exploration and initial mining, design and planning and execution. Because we destroy the vegetation cover, so erosion is intense. This also affects the biodiversity due to loss of vegetation, animal loss, change in pH, as well as temperature. You can see what climate change is doing. This can also add to our problems. The other thing is, of course, water pollution. Like I said earlier, I said water is one mineral that we don't think about. We assume it's there. It's just water. But once we start our mining procedure, if adequate care and planning is not done, then we have pollution of water, both surface and groundwater. Second is health. To consider the miners, that is the workers around the mines, and even those who are not miners, but who are staying in environments close or even far away from the mine sites. You have respiratory complications due to asbestos, rock blasting, coal, radium, use of mercury. Don't forget Zamfara, a few years back. You have injuries and fatalities, that is mine accidents. You have cancer due to radioactive materials. People have not looked at it closely because the just environment is one where people have been exposed to radioactive materials. And poisoning due to heavy metals. Let me not discourage you with these hazards, because people are getting more aware, and they now insist that some of this must be looked at and taken care of. Understanding the geology of Nigeria. I've just put up that map, which I got from the net also. Figure 3. It shows one example. There are several examples of geological map of Nigeria, but this shows one of them. If you look at it, all the areas in yellow or light yellow, they are areas of sedimentary rocks. All the other areas represent areas underlain by the basement complex rocks of Nigeria. These are hard rocks. They are not sedimentary rocks. So when we look at the hard rocks, we are talking a variety of granites, gneisses, diorites, and so forth. And when we look at the soft rocks, like I mentioned on sand, sandstones, and so forth. So we can see that clearly the geological setting of Nigeria and the various rocks present favor the accumulation of various mineral types. And we found that. We have the schist belts. We have the pegmatite zones of Nigeria. We have the younger granites. We have the older granites. We have the basalts or extinct volcanoes as we see them in the Jos area through to the Adamawa zone. If we have all of these rocks that are amenable for mineral deposits, what does the Nigerian mineral scene look like? Again, there are several maps, even originating from GSD and other authors. Figure 4 is one of the available mineral maps of Nigeria. If you look at it, you see that we have several: iron ore, gold, diamond, chromium, nickel, uranium, copper, gemstones. bismuth, cassiterite, columbites, rutile, marble, gypsum, coal, limestones, clay, bentonite, barytes, phosphorus, glass sands, salt, bitumen, oil, and of course, water. One interesting thing, however, is that there's no state in Nigeria that does not have one form of mineral or the other. It depends essentially of what we want to do with it. The problem, I think, is that we have a lot of showings. We have deposits. A few reserves have been proven, but we've not taken advantage of more detailed exploration to determine many more types. I think Nigeria should be paying more attention to areas of exploration, detailed exploration. We still need it. We are at the initial stage of exploration. We are too young in our exploration. In 1973-4, I was one of those who started the aeromagnetic map of Nigeria. I was in charge of the Southeast. I know that a few other areas have been flown. There's a contract on right now again for Nigeria to be flown. Good idea. We need to interpret this data. We need to make them available so that we can look in detail at more minerals. Apart from the traditional minerals, now we're looking at nickel, cobalt, and lithium. They are the minerals of the future because of electric cars and so forth. We should start looking at all of those. So please, no state should say it doesn't have any mineral. You have plenty in each state. It depends on what you want to make use of. In conclusion, I will say that the formation of minerals is dependent on geology, rock types, and geological processes. Minerals can be grouped into various forms and types, all of which are useful to human beings. Exploration for minerals is time-consuming. It starts from reconnaissance survey to detailed survey, trial and detailed drilling programs, reserve estimates, mine planning and design. Exploitation can be by open or underground mining. Mining, beginning from exploration through exploitation to mine closure, has potential hazards that affect the environment and health. You can see a few authors. Omota and Shianako, 2019. The geology of Nigeria favors the accumulation of various types of minerals. There's no state in Nigeria that doesn't have minerals. You can see Datia et al., 2017. Ibiton Taiwo et al., 2020. Moses Olade, 2019. My recommendation: mining is a very consuming and expensive venture that does not yield immediate substantial profit. Hence, for anyone interested in mining, we recommend the following. Permits for exploration and exploitation must be obtained from the relevant issuing authorities so that you don't have problems. Necessary EIA must be carried out, and host communities should be involved from the onset of the project to closure. That helps. Those are the modern ways to look at mining. Competent and reputable companies should be responsible for depth work, exploration, pre-feasibility studies, reserve estimates, mine planning and design, exploitation, mine closure, and restoration work of the environment. And finally, all phases of the project will employ modern technologies to reduce cost and risk. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for that wonderful presentation. Help us end your screen sharing, so that okay, sir. Professor has been able to help us run through all the process that we will need, that will involve in mineral exploration and exploitation in Nigeria. He went through the basic geology and formation of mineral. That is where he started from. I will want to invite the president of Women in Mining Nigeria to just give us a recap of what Prof have said before we go into the next lecture. But please, if you have a question, you can drop in the comment box. We'll take our time to read and answer the questions when the time comes. Help me welcome Honorable Engineer Janet Adeyemi.
Once again, I welcome everybody to this webinar. This is our own way of contributing and giving back to the society, because there must be a continuous stream of the younger generation who will take leadership position. And we welcome everybody irrespective of sexes. Anyway, when you asked me to moderate on Professor Bidiako's paper, I was laughing. Thank God this is Geology 00, because I saw him struggling, trying to make the presentation. You know, when somebody is so vast and then you now want the person to come to basement level. That was what Prof tried to do, and I want to commend you, sir. Professor Bidiako was my lecturer, supervised my projects, and was a pillar behind the formation of Women in Mining. We went to JOS together, you know, to look at the mine sites and to lecture and build up the capacity of women. However, let me go to what I need to say here. What I wanted to say is that moderating on this paper is a very technical paper. So I'll just encourage everybody to try and lay hands, because it's purely technical. What we need to know is that there are three categories of minerals, rocks mainly. You have what you call the sedimentary rock, you have what you have the igneous rock, and you have what they call the metamorphic rock. And most times, the minerals are characterized, the minerals themselves, you understand, are restricted to that area. The kind of rocks, minerals you will find in sedimentary, you are never likely to find in igneous rock. So once you understand the basis, then you find out that your wildcatting is extremely reduced for the purpose of mining. And then for the purpose of mining, the key take here is that we know that diverse people are on this background, on this platform. So we are not talking geology per se, but we are talking understanding what it takes, you understand, what you need to know as a tool before you embark on this. You find out that quite a number of women will just carry their whatever and say, oh, I have a site and I'm going to that site. Oh, they told me there's gold there. Beyond gold, what are you going to do in that site? That's why you have listened to a lecture like this today. Today, if you need to do anything, number one, are your papers right before you start investing your money there? Do you have the needed permits to be able to go to that particular site? And then the first thing is that you want to pick up the map and look at it from the map you have shared. And the maps are available all over the place. What part of the country am I assigned to? What am I likely to find there? What are the formations I'm likely to run into there? Then the next thing is to get a professional to work with you. When you get a professional, the professional will be able to do assessment, because you heard him say something, and this is the one I've always emphasized, that something is available in your site does not make it economical for the moment, because the economics of any mineral depends on global economy. If gold is always there, thank God for gold, but there are some minerals, you understand, that were unknown in the past, that people abandoned, either because of the cost in the market or because of the available technology. And same thing with oil and gas. The marginal fields we went back to today is because there are now technologies, understand, to actually tackle them easily. So same we are speaking of here. So you need to balance all those things up. And you will find out that the issue of host community came up. Some of us just go to these sites, mess up the sites and ignore the host community. Of course, you will not have peace. And that is why you have the Niger Delta crisis that stemmed up. And now crises are coming up all over the place. Again, so these issues must be taken seriously, because as you follow us in this series, you will find out that we keep on coming up with professionals, you understand, who will be able to explain deeper. Because if I want to go into everything, Professor, you understand, talking about the various series, the Olivine series, talking about why the kind of rocks, minerals you'll find in the in sedimentary rock, in basic rock, in metamorphic, we take time. But just understand the outline that you have 3 types of rocks. The 3 types of rocks are sedimentary, which is classified as soft rock, igneous rock, that's around Jos, you understand, which you find out of intrusion. And then you have the cooked rock, which has been rebaked, you understand, and that's what we call the metamorphic rock. It has gone through metamorphism, you understand. So once you understand that basic, I want to leave it there for you. Then you now understand that if you want to mine at all, if you want to be in that sector, you find some of the women in the various chapters, some of them are quarreling, thinking there's one grant. Government does not even have the capacity to give you money, you understand, to go into all these things. You must have passion for it. And that is why Women in Mining is concentrating on some critical or core areas, which has to do with capacity building, which has to do with taking care of host communities for you to know your rights, to know when you come in, to look at the issue of hazards, to look at because mining can equally accelerate poverty. You spend all your money looking for something you've not done adequate research on to know what is available. You have pumped all your resources and you come back with nothing. So you need to do proper investigation, and that is where you need professionals, and we are always available, you understand, to do that for you. When I say we are talking of people who have read and who are certified to be able to do it. Then the issue of working, you understand, working with modern technology is very, very critical. Now when I see people trying to use hose, use jigger and everything, we went to I can't remember how to pronounce it very well, around Elisha. And you see how the environment was devastated and destroyed, cocoa trees there destroyed and everything. Yes, for gold, but we could mine in a more conservative and scientific way. So I employ us to keep coming for the lecture series, where you'll be able to build up your capacity to know. The take home today is for you to know that for you to mine, you need a mining license. If you want to mine as an operator, you need a mining license. And when you have a mining license, the next thing is that you need a competent person for you to help you, you understand, with all the technical details on your site. And then you want to determine the reserve estimate. What is your reserve estimate for you to know, is it worth it? Then you start looking for technical partnership. That you have a mine site does not mean you are fully in charge of it. You need people to collaborate with you to be able to make a turnaround and useful things about it. So thank you once again for being here. We thank you, Professor Ako. We are ever so proud of you. And Ansibo said, we thank you for releasing Prof, from his retirement to come and talk to us. And Morenike, I apologize for taking Grandpa away from you for a few minutes. So God bless you. Thank you so much. We are grateful. So on to you, moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Engineer Adeyemi, the President of Women in Mining Nigeria, for that wonderful recap that you've helped us go through. We are going to go straight to our second presentation. Thank you once again, Professor Ako, for that presentation. We sincerely appreciate it, because you tried as much as possible to simplify the issues. One thing that struck me is the fact that water is a mineral. I think that is a learning for me. I've never known that the water I drink is a mineral. Thank you once more, sir. The next presentation will be facilitated by Engineer Awal Ibrahim. Engineer Awal is a mechanical engineer. He's going to take us on entrepreneurship and mining. He's a professional entrepreneur in the mining sector. He has a very vast working experience in the public and private sector. He's currently the technical advisor to the Miners Association of Nigeria, the president of the Association of Nigeria, and Nasima Mining Trade Group. He's the technical advisor there. Engineer Awal is the workstream lead on the mining and other extractive workstream on the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. He is a member representing the Nigeria Association of Small and Medium Enterprises in Nigeria. He's a project manager and on a multi-million naira power and renewable energy project by a power holding company in Nigeria. Engineer Awal will be taking us through entrepreneurship and mining. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Engineer Awal Ibrahim Bununu for his facilitation. He's going to run for 40 minutes, which will take us to 5:43. Then we entertain comments, questions till 6. Is that okay? Engineer Awal, over to you, sir. Unmute yourself and talk, sir.
You can sit down.
And now the class is waiting for you. If you can hear me.
Hello?
Yes, over to you, sir. We can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Can you hear me now?
Very well, sir.
You can hear me, ba?
Very well, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All protocols observed. It is an honor and privilege for me to address this important August gathering, whereby when professors of high repute talk, and when you are talking before highly experienced people who have gone through public and private sector life, sometimes you wonder what you will tell them or what you tell the audience, but because it's an opportunity, I'm grateful for that opportunity. I will also apologize that I'm not able to put all the slides because of the time here. I just came back from Senegal on the mission of consultation on African Continental Free Trade Area for MSMEs in Senegal. And before that time, I was preparing for that event. We went to discuss on how MSMEs will be competitive on African Continental Free Trade. So on that issue, I was not able to prepare all the slides, but I promise that I will, by the end of the week, I will get all the slides to be shared among the participants. So my apologies again, once again. I've been asked to talk on entrepreneurship and mining. So from my serious engagement with the President of Women in Mining, the aim and objectives of this entrepreneurship and mining training is to be able to sensitize participants on entrepreneurship and available opportunities for women entrepreneurs in the mining sector, both the downstream sector, the side stream and upstream. If I say downstream, side stream and upstream means agriculture, oil and gas, all the linkages the mining sector has with all other industrial sectors. So what are the opportunities available for women entrepreneurs in all these, in the mining sector, in the downstream sector, in the side stream sector, as well as all the linkages the mining sector has? And also to develop their own capacities to be able to access these available opportunities. You have had the first speaker, Professor, has mentioned a lot of technical and opportunities in the mining sector, but you must have the capacity to be able to access those opportunities. And this entrepreneurship capacity is what is required to be able to achieve that and translate that into the goals and objectives of poverty alleviation and economic diversification. Also, the aim of the objective of this training, we are supposed to identify opportunities for startups and how do they now come up and how do they work on these opportunities as a startup and ongoing project, because most of MSMEs, they die within 1 year of their own operations. and most of ongoing projects. So how do we now identify opportunities and then leverage and package them for us to access these things? And secondly, also to develop strategic framework for implementation, so that within certain period of time, women in mining will showcase the women entrepreneurs they have built in the country, and then go to build from our own discussion at Senegal. We are also going the whole continent after dealing with Nigeria. So we have to showcase how many entrepreneurs this training should be able to develop strategic framework for implementation, so that within 5 years to 10 years maximum, we'll be showcasing successful entrepreneurs in the mining sector. So based on these objectives which I've done, I developed the concept notes on the definition, what is entrepreneurship, what are the benefits and challenges of entrepreneurship, what is the impact of entrepreneurship on the economic diversification, job creation, and poverty alleviation, poverty of government. How is entrepreneurship going to play a role on the achievement of African Continental Free Trade Area agreements? Now give a brief of Nigerian economic history, how we can now, because we have to know where we are coming from and develop our own capacity, because any policy you take or any development strategy you take must take into content your own local peculiarities. That is why we are not able to make anything in Nigeria, because all our strategies, we have not taken our local peculiarities into account in designing our own strategies. That is why, in spite of most of our brain drain, you can't blame brain drain, because when they come, there is no environment for them to work. They have to go back. And Papa, Nigerians are competitive in everywhere in the world. Nigerians have done well because we don't have a relevant institution that is built, strategy built on our own peculiarities. So we are not able to achieve anything. Now, what is the impact of? I want to also discuss what are the impact of entrepreneurship on global economic development and social well-being. It is entrepreneurs that created Facebook, WhatsApp, all the other digital platforms, all other things, it's all entrepreneurs. We have to discuss, I want to discuss something on that too. Then I come back to the mining industry. Where are the entrepreneurship? How can we now develop entrepreneurship within the mining industry for women? Then we'll also discuss entrepreneurship and economic development of the country, the implementation strategy, and then give successful stories of some entrepreneurs in Nigeria, Africa, and the entire globe, and give recommendation and the next steps. So permit me, if my time cannot, I cannot have the 45 minutes, cannot discuss all the details, but in the slides I will present. I hope the slides will be kept, and then I will show all the details on the slides, but I will just talk within the time permitted to me. But maybe so my Mr. Timekeeper, you can moderator, you can be giving me a writing on the time that I need, so that I try to talk something about all the topics I have listed. Then we can now the detail will come up later. Now, definition of what is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship in a layman's language.
Hello, sorry, Engineer Owl, if you don't mind, just minimize the noise in your background.
You see?
The noise in your background. Can you just help us minimize it?
Okay. Let me. Okay. Can I mute myself then if I'm talking? No. Hello?
Yes, there's a background noise. That is all we need you to just.
Okay. Let me check. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Let me change. Position. Sorry. Hello. I think are you hearing the noise now? Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
You can go ahead.
I can go ahead now. But thank you. Sorry for that.
No problem.
What is entrepreneurship in a layman's language? Entrepreneurship can be defined in simple language as check baking process, whereby you create opportunities. It's the act of creating opportunities for people to come and benefit and tap all the available opportunities within you, within what the one you can know, the one you cannot. It is different from career development. So people who are entrepreneurs and people who want career development. If you have a career development, it means you just go and reach strategize, get all the requirements of the industry you want to do or the institution you want to work for, and be working in that and organized set of that. You are not the one who established it. Somebody just established it, like Shell, like NNPC, like CBN. You work. There's a different kind of character you need to display for you to be able to succeed as a career in your own career, reach the highest level as chief executive officers of well-managed good organizations. But an entrepreneur, you are the one who is creating the opportunity for people. You are the one who is creating that opportunity. So an entrepreneur is the one who creates the opportunity. So by that method, these are two different attitudes. You have to have all the attitudes that what it takes for you to be able to create opportunities and for you to be able to work and for you to be able to create jobs for people. So that is why entrepreneurship, you can see in this critical nature, the history of Nigeria is in now. We have entrepreneurship. It is linked to industrial and economic development. It is linked to peace, security, conflict resolution, and national integration. Because people will tell you that it is industrialization that we need to be able to generate resources we require to sustain our socio-economic peace and all other conflict resolution and socio-economic well-being or development for the country. We need industrialization. Without entrepreneurship, you cannot industrialize. So which means, in other ways, what Nigeria needs now, or Africa, is competent entrepreneurs who will now industrialize, access all the industrial opportunities that was available in the country, and then by that, the necessary revenue and resources that required to take care of the socio-economic conflict resolution, peace and security will be realized. So in that case, entrepreneurship now is the key. Why we have been hearing, even the last speaker has spoken to us about all opportunities. We have been hearing, we have been available at so many seminars, workshops, that Nigeria has abundant agricultural potential, we have potential, we can do this, we can do that, but yet we are not even our basic needs. Up till now, issue of basic needs, healthcare, security, food security, we are not able to make it because we cannot generate the resources. It's because we are not enterprising. Somebody will say our industrialization issue is because we don't have infrastructure. It's not true. Look at Arab countries. They have developed their own infrastructure. They don't have problem of power, water, supply roads, and everything. But with the exception of Dubai, which become an enterprising state, Dubai has only 10% of the oil in the Emirates, in the United Arab. They control only about less than 10% of the oil. But because the leadership of Dubai is enterprising in nature, you can see what Dubai has become. So don't tell me what is our base of industrialization is not just because of lack of infrastructure, lack of this, lack of capital. No, it is lack of entrepreneurship. Because ability to see opportunity, ability to work under turmoil environment, ability to face challenges, to take risks, calculated risks. So these are all what is meant about entrepreneurship. Now, on that definition, entrepreneurship means in that case, it is that the benefits of entrepreneurship is, it is what we need to all the challenges of economic diversification, sustainable job creation, poverty alleviation. Everything can only be achieved when we have enterprising citizens and enterprising government. So entrepreneurship should go not only on the citizens alone, but the government should also be. I'm just giving you an example of Dubai as an enterprising country. Therefore, the impact of entrepreneurship on our economic diversification and job creation is that there is no option to achieving all this, to creation of the resources, because if you go on, I have repeated, I'm emphasizing on that, all that you see government are doing, all their budgetary issue is consumption of money, spending the national check. But there is no much policy on backing of the national check. That is why it's because of the absence of entrepreneurship development. So we mean to do that entrepreneurship development. It is what we need to achieve for the citizens to contribute their own quota. And if you have enterprising citizens, you are now putting all the citizens on the platform of them giving their own contribution to national economic development, which will translate to peace, security, national integration, and conflict resolution. Now, there are a lot of opportunities that is available in the country at the regional level, at the continental level, African Continental Free Trade, and the WTO trade negotiation we have been doing. I have been privileged to be a member of the National Trade Facilitation Committee, chaired by the Honorable Minister of Trade, as well as the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The WTO have sent us a program that WTO has a developed policy of how to integrate informal sector SMEs into
Hello, engineer. We can't hear you any longer. Hello, engineer. Well.
Maybe you should call him. Network, of course, yeah.
Are you still on? I think I need to know what. Okay. Pending on when engineer Awal comes up, if we have direct question to Professor Ako, I think we could just direct it to him. Yes, the floor is open. If you have any question, just let me know, then I will allow you to speak.
Can I direct you to a question on the chat okay. Box?
Okay, ma'am.
There is a question. Let me just read it out. It is good to see Professor Ako again. He was my external examiner during my undergraduate project defense at Osun State University. I'm currently doing my PhD in South Africa in mineral prospectivity mapping using machine learning. My question should be on the availability of mineral exploration data. Data such as aeroelectromagnetic and aerogravity are only available for some areas, while aeromagnetic and radiometry are available for every part of the country. Is there a reason for this? Thank you. I'm Alimi Sodiq. I hope Prof got the question in the chat box. He's asking where they are scattered data that they are not complementary.
Well, okay, thank you very much. This has to do with government. Like I mentioned earlier on, when I was in the geological survey, we started the aeromagnetic and radiometric mapping of part of the country. That was the Eastern Bloc then. Since then, other blocks have been flown, but I doubt if aerogravity has been flown at all in Nigeria. However, once we have aeromagnetic map coverage.
Hello, Prof. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, engineer, just hold on a little, 2 minutes. Let Prof just answer one question, then you come on. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Since aeromagnetic maps are available, we can always do a conversion to gravity data, which will help in better interpretation of whatever data we have. But coverage has to do with government. There's nothing with individuals are not allowed to fly. So it's the government, especially the GSD, that is responsible for determining where and where to fly. Thank you.
Okay, Sadiq, is that clear? Thank you very much, Prof, for that clarification. Let's go back to Engineer Awal if he's ready. Engineer, sir. Engineer Awal.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, send me, Mr. Moderator. What did I stop? I was trying to explain that entrepreneurship is the key component towards achieving industrialization. And industrialization is the key component towards generating enough resources for socio-economic development, which will translate into peace, security, conflict resolution, and national integration. And we are lacking, and I've also mentioned about entrepreneurship and African continental future. I was trying to mention the opportunities. I was trying to give one example of an opportunity that we have to diversify our economy and generate revenue. For example, under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, Innocent Motors, who is an entrepreneur of the high international standard, wants to export made in Nigeria, his own Innocent Motors as made in Nigeria cars with African markets. But the rules of origin negotiations has to do, he has to comply with 35% at the local content being manufactured in Nigeria before that car can be exported to West Africa as made in Nigeria car. Now he has approached Miners Association of Nigeria and the Nasima Mining Trade Group, as well as all the trade platform, especially under when we were in the African Continental Free Trade negotiation. So he is now the glass component. If he can produce the glass component of the automobile in Nigeria, that can make him to add his own percentage up to the level that he can comfortably export his car to West Africa as made in Nigeria car. And this glass, raw material for manufacturing glass basically is silica sand. And there is a company in Ogun that are manufacturing these glass sheets. We went and discussed with them how they can be producing these glass sheets for the automobile industry. And they have agreed. It was lockdown from COVID that made us not to continue with the transaction. And Minister of Mines have already keyed into that. They are going to help us develop that platform so that we can see that there are a lot of, I'm just mentioning one opportunity. So there's opportunity for women to be able to key into that project, even within the value chain, as the president of Women in Mining always said me. It's not just about the mining, main core mining. The downstream value chains are also opportunities that can work, which are available for women to key in and play an active role and get a lot of contribute to the GDP and create jobs and create revenue for government. So because of lack of enterprising skill among women, now we are having this problem. This opportunity cannot be accessed. If you permit me, even the whole 45 minutes, I'll be mentioning to you opportunities that is available. But there is no enterprising women to be able to key into this opportunity. Thank God, the president of Women in Mining, in fact, what she has been putting in terms of energy and resources, to be able to not only to develop the women in mining sector, but also the whole sector, the whole MSME and mining sector. So now I've just discussed about opportunity. What is this entrepreneurship? As I said before, It is the art of creating opportunities. Now, what are the characteristics that you need to develop for you to be able to become an entrepreneur? You must be able to have a risk, a calculated risk, how to take risk, how to manage risk, how to survive in terms of a very horrible condition and environment. That's why entrepreneurs survive. In fact, an entrepreneur platform is when there is a crisis, it is when the entrepreneur will come and deliver something. For example, I will give you an example. I have a woman in my village in Bauchi State. She identified an opportunity when the Kaduna textile working were working, the textile industry in Kaduna was working. She identified an opportunity that all those low-income women in the rural areas who cannot buy the textile, complete textile, you go and make the uncompleted one, the damaged textile in Kaduna. She'll go and buy the damaged one, come and get a tailor to repair it to them, and then these local women will buy wrappers from her. Within a period of 5 years, this woman now has over 5 petrol stations in my local government now as a woman. So you can see she identified that opportunity, but she was able to get courage, gather courage, compose herself, cultivate the habit of enterprising habit. One of the enterprising habits, which I will mention in my wrap-up, is that don't spend all your income. If you are going to be an entrepreneur, make sure that you are saving at least 20% of your income. This is one of the areas where why we are lacking entrepreneurs in our societies, is because we have this culture, because we have been spoon-fed by the national cake sharing concept. So everybody is thinking that if you have anything today, you just spend it, and you don't, because tomorrow you have somewhere to go and get another one again. So if you inculcate enterprising spirit, is that don't spend all you are getting. If your income is 1,000 naira, your budget of spending could be 800 naira. Then you can be able to have working capital. People will also trust you, because if people around you, another habit that you must inculcate as an entrepreneur is that people working around you must know that you have trust and transparency. If people know you, I have in Abuja here one boy who is working for Bureau de Change people, but because of his trust, if they give him money, if you come back to collect your money, you will not even change the denomination of the money. When he inculcates this habit and he is known by the people around him, that boy is now a multi-millionaire. He is riding more than 7 cars because of the trust he has. So number one, don't be saying entrepreneurs say, no, we don't have money, our problem is capital. No, it's not capital. If you inculcate entrepreneurship habits by being financially intelligent, by being transparent and honest in people you deal with, by being able to, all these habits, which I will mention in the spirit, these are what is called entrepreneurship habits. If you have them, people around you will trust you, people around you will give you businesses, and you don't have to have money before you can make the business. So not people say we cannot be entrepreneurs because we don't have money. No. So these are some of the characteristics. By doing that, the opportunities are almost there, and apart from the domestic Nigerian environment, regional environment, as well as global environment, we have a lot of opportunities that we can. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, next week, we want to sign an agreement with the support on the export center that we need to establish. So, but what is the implementation strategy? Let me go to implementation strategy. Now, for all these things to be able to be implemented and be realized and achieved, we need an institutional setup like the one Women in Mining is doing. In fact, because of the drive the Women in Mining is doing in the mining industry, we have decided to move the Secretariat of African Continental Free Mining Work Stream to the Secretariat of Women in Mining in Nigeria. So because the president have realized that he always says that I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing it for the next generation. What am I trying to do? Now, the implementation strategy of all this entrepreneurship skill is that there should be platforms and special purpose vehicles that is public-private interface What the last speaker has mentioned about geological exploration, reserve estimate, mining model, and all these things, we need to have a platform that we can work with public-private interface to be able to achieve those platforms on the exploration, on the geoscience data, laboratory services, and all that. We have a typical case now that we are engaging with Federal Ministry of Finance. They have called us in the whole mining sector, all the mining sector under the Chambers of Commerce, to discuss guidelines on the export of solid minerals to the country, because mining has remained the only available option that can be for the economic diversification of Nigeria more than agriculture. So, but now how do we do it? The cumbersome processes of export. So now women in mining, organizations like Women in Mining is driving the collaboration with other stakeholders to have an export processing center, whereby that center, you build the capacities of women, you address their access to finance issue, access to equipment, access to machineries and equipment, and do the trading platform. We have engaged with Nexim Bank. They said if we have this kind of platform, they will be able to advance resources. And then the Women in Mining has sent to me a lot of documents on interested investors from US, how we can develop this platform of machinery and equipment leasing, because we will see that is one of the key platforms that we need to establish for women entrepreneurs. So at the end of this training, I don't want, after the training, after the training, all those that have partaken in this training, they are going to register. Those have not registered Women in Mining should register. Those
Hello, engineer, are you there? Hello, engineer, are you there?
I think we can take another question like you did.
Someone is asking if the presentation we made available. As many that registered for this workshop, we'll definitely share the presentation via your email addresses that you use to register. Yes, let me check for another. The recording will also be made available. I'm just looking at the question.
Can I just?
Okay, ma, go ahead, ma.
Once again, I want to thank the participants. I can tell you that engineer Awa could be on his in one of the jungle. He's a man with many parts. Yes, I'm surprised he's even here. I thought he would be talking from Dakar because I saw his picture yesterday. He's a man so vast on MSME programs. Like we have all heard, entrepreneurship, and I want to encourage most women, is the place to be. I don't know, people say age is a number. Yes, age is a number, but there are two things you cannot cheat, and which cheats man, humanity, but humanity is not aware of it. I always like looking at myself in the mirror, just like I'm looking at myself in the screen, and I see the valleys on my two sides deepening daily. Before it was filled up, it's deepening. But in your inner self, you will still be deceiving yourself, especially the women, thinking, oh, you are pretty, you are this, you are that. Time moves. And the time you lose today, you cannot redeem tomorrow. The mining, the upstream, there are several committees that I have participated in this country. And I know that the upstream sector is still cloudy. It's not easy. It's bedeviled with a lot of problems. Recently, our star lady, Ajia Awa Ibrahim. I'm always so proud of her, the Vice President of Women in Mining. Her staff was kidnapped. Only God knows how much they paid. About 2 weeks ago, I don't know, maybe they've even gotten the other guy. Our lady, Phoebe, their staff was kidnapped, and they said they should bring 1 billion. How much are they making? They raised 11 million and sent it to them. The kidnappers gave them a dead body. And then they held on to the second one and said, if you don't bring this money, we will kill the second one, who is a Chinese. So the upstream sector, and then if you don't have money, people always ask, why are you not in the upstream sector as a player? I said, I'm not interested. I gave up my license because as a professional, I know what it is. And I'm not discouraging people. But if you must go into it with your head. That's what our world has just told us. Count your risk. And in counting that risk, that means you must look for somebody with a deep bag. Stop carrying titles, women. Stop carrying titles and thinking that title you have is just like a sheet of paper. Number one, you are paying money, you understand, to service that document you are carrying. So if that document is not utilized, you are running overhead on it in your purse, in your file, wherever it is. You must look for somebody with a deep pocket to partner with. Then there's a side stream. There are things you can do in the side stream. Knowledge sharing. Further your education, be grounded in it, build up your capacity to understand the side stream, the activities you can do. And that is where all this exploration as consultants. You have your degree, please run after your COMEX so that you are certified, because without COMEX, they won't allow you to do a lot of activities, you'll be excluded. So make sure you have your COMEX so that as consultants, you can work as an entrepreneur there, and there are several areas of entrepreneurship, you understand, in the side stream. Because for people who even go to the sites, they must do analysis, laboratory. That means you can even have you can be one just seated and doing analysis. That's the simplest that just came to my head now. Then let's now look at the downstream, where you add value chain addition. As he's talking, I laughed, because if you go to my state, you will find, I'm sure, Professor Ako and Kode were the one who did the geophysical studies in those days. Oluwa Glass Factory is lying seated there. There's a Bonds Brick Factory. There are so many things we can do. And women, we have so much money. I'm crazy about gold too, but it's high time we start looking to alternatives, looking for sources of capital, because to get anything, you must put down something. So if we start looking at all these areas, and then women in mining, I can tell you, if in this country, combining, I don't know, because I told the minister, and the minister said he will try and be on the platform. I told people at this age in my life, my needs are limited. Somehow, I see this as a ministry. This is my own ministry. I might not be preaching on the pulpit, but this is my ministry. The sufferings I went through as a professional, I don't pray for any younger one to go through. So I'm lost to women in mining. And all of you are here. We are yet to start collecting dues, which we will start doing. We don't, but we've been running an organization. So the truth of it is that so many activities will be coming up, which will be pumping and showing you direction. Just like Engineer Awa was trying to say, I didn't know he would come up with all these ones here. We've gone far with federal government, African Continental Trade Agreement, of which we've gone far on all these things, but it is to benefit us women. So let us make sure that we get involved, we got engaged in all these things. Please, when our comes up, let me know. I'm just feeling his space. You understand? So that we could have, is it there? So that we could have multiplier effects. Like there's hardly any, Yobe Sands, I once sent a report, even in my own private professional, if you get to my office, you will see the glass we made from Yobe Sands. Yes, Professor Ako is raising his hands. You will see the glass we made from Yobe Sands. You understand? Yobe in the north, all those sands there, you can make glass out of it. So not until you come to the south. The only thing is that the kind of glasses might be different, but you make glass from all these things. Vehicles are coming up. So let's start looking at little where we can come together as a group and work together as a group to make success of it. Thank you. That's just what I want to interject into the ongoing discussion. But I saw Professor Ako raising his hands. Maybe the moderator will want to call him.
Prof, you can go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to add, You see, there are some very simple things people can do. In the delta, you need stones, gravels. In the west, you need sand. What we are saying is sand in the west is just weathered granites and so forth, which is not absolutely suitable. So, simple thing, why can I not get some truckloads of sand closest to Ondo, for instance? Set up a depot. And you find with time, people will buy your sand. You closer to your rock chips. Mica is not the best as a mixture for your building. Why don't you crush your mica, wash your granite chips, transport it to anywhere from Benin or Edo to Delta? That gives you all you need to do without spending huge capitals. Those are simple things I think people can do. Okay, Luce, you have a lot of gravels, rounded gravels. People come from Edo to come and take those gravels from Okeluse area. Whereas a woman in mining, can't I go wash those gravels cleaner than what they are taking? It will give you extra funds, both in the West, when I mean in the hard rock area, as well as the soft rock areas. So there are many things. I keep telling my students also, water, you will always drill boreholes in this nation. So get in contact with people, rent equipment, explore for water. I'm sure in 1 year you will buy your own equipment. And you'll be doing fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prof. Engineer Awal is not yet here. Maybe we should entertain questions to Prof. If you know you have any question directed to Prof, please, you're free. So just unmute your mic and go ahead.
I have a little contribution to make. Hear me? Am I being heard?
Yes, go ahead, ma.
Yeah, I just want to support his idea on entrepreneurship. The average Nigerian, especially us women, we look for grants, freebies, and so on. But it doesn't come that easy. A lot of us have what it takes. For you to get any funding anywhere, you must have your own equity. Why should I risk or take why should I bet on you if you cannot bet on yourself? So for all of us, we need to have a basic savings before we are looking for those who will lend us money to expand or do our business. And we shouldn't disdain the days of little beginning. I see some women crushing stones in Jos. You can be helping those who are collecting gravels or granite today, and tomorrow you may own your own mine. So we shouldn't disdain the days of little beginning, even in starting our businesses or even in the little money we have that we can use as capital and grow it. I just want to chip in that because we're all looking for big, big money. It doesn't always come like that.
Thank you very much, ma. Prof, let me just read one of the questions in the comment box. It goes thus. Thank you for the detailed lecture, sir. But from the definition of minerals as a naturally occurring solid with a well-defined structure, how do we justify water as a mineral?
Water is not solid.
Yeah.
Crude oil is not solid.
Yeah.
So they have structures, they have chemistry.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing we are talking of solid minerals, which is distinct from non-solid minerals. So oil and gas water, they are not solid minerals, as far as I'm concerned.
So they are non-solid minerals.
And then, Mr. Mojo, I can add to that. Matter exists in 3 states. You have liquid, gas, and water.
Yeah.
You understand? So that same water you see, in another clime, it is solid because it depends on the temperature. That same water you see in another clime, it is solid. So it can exist in a solid state, and it can exist in a liquid state, and it can exist in a gaseous state. They are all byproducts, because if you look at groundwater, forget about people who drill borehole and give you surface water and call it groundwater. No. Groundwater are water that are trapped millions and millions of years during the formation of rocks. And how are they formed? If you look at botanic environments, you see what is coming out. Some of them are byproducts, you understand, who went through natural filtration in the rocks and they are trapped somewhere. So the thing is that water comes up in any form. It can be gaseous, it can be solid, and it can be liquid. But for purposes of classification in Nigeria, you understand, because we have an oil and gas ministry, which we depend, petroleum ministry mainly before gas came on board. You understand? So in developing the other minerals, it was now classified as solid minerals. But if you look at the permits, in the course of, if you go to mining cadastral and you want to sort for your permits, you will find out that the water regulation is even the most lengthiest regulation there. You understand? Which tells you that they recognize the significance of water.
Thank you very much, Ma. I believe the person has gotten it straight now. So water is a mineral. Any other question or comment? Engineer Awal is nowhere to be found.
I'm sure his network,
is not logging in any longer. So we'll entertain more questions if we have any before our time is up.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, just unmute your mic and speak. We can hear you very clearly. Philemon?
Hello.
No, we can't hear you at all.
Hello.
Your network is not, the voice is not very clear. I'm sorry, we can't listen, we can't hear you. But let me just quickly read this question, even though we can't hear you. Let me just quickly read this question, even though Engineer Awal is not here, but I believe Engineer Janet can answer it. As an entrepreneur, how do we crack the hard shell of government agencies over bloating cost of certification in the Ministry of Mines and Steel? I just unmute
the question again. Can you read the question again?
As an entrepreneur, how do we crack the hard shell of government agencies over bloating the cost of certification in the Ministry of Mines and Steel?
Yes, I don't think it's peculiar to the Ministry of Mines and Steel alone. I think that is still one of the problems mitigating against development of businesses generally in Nigeria, from multiple taxation, you understand, to all manner. Government is just simply interested, and I think Awal summed it up. Dubai was not stupid when Dubai in those days told you that when you get to the entrance of their country, you will get your visa. And I've looked at another country promoting tourism, that's Mexico. The Cancun, you can go straight to Mexico, straight to Cancun. Well, once you're in Cancun, everybody knows you came for tourism. And just at the entrance there is where they will give you your visa. It doesn't need any rigorous process. So it's unfortunate that we are still at the stage where we have not appreciated industrialization and entrepreneurship. But circumstances of life will force Nigeria, you understand, to start appreciating it, because fossil fuel is gradually fading off. All manner of international protocols are coming up vis-a-vis the amount you can put into the atmosphere in terms of polluting the atmosphere, because you just have to bring the temperature of the global temperature to less than 2.5 degrees Celsius. So by the time you look at all those things, you find out that we will be forced to. So for now, we are all grappling with it. It's not only in that, even AMAC will come to your office if you're in Abuja and say you have a monitor, because they came to women in mining office and they say the monitor of a screen, you have it, so pay tax on it, apart from the other taxes you pay. So that is how bad it is, but it's something we just have to keep on groveling with, you know, till we find solution. It's a general thing for Nigeria, so it's not, I'm not defending the sector, but it's a general thing. And then you find out that the issue of data, right now, the ministry, the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency is doing so much. You know, they finished the first round of NIMEP something, and they are they are embarking on the, in fact, I think they commenced on the second stage. Again, some of these things are probably capital intensive and then they need money. But the way to go about it is probably not the way generally across board for Nigerian agencies. So I'm not talking about that sector alone.
Okay, thank you very much. Prof, sir, with your wealth of knowledge, you're able to mention groups of minerals that we have, ranging from metallic, non-metallic, gems, industrial minerals, energy group, water, or deposits. Nigeria is endowed, you showed us the map of Nigeria, well endowed with all these resources. And we still see that most of these minerals are still being imported by our Nigerian government. Like if you go to the crude oil sector, the oil and gas sector, there is one type of what's the name of the material? And I'm not a geologist, I don't know. Barite. They use for drilling. They still import it, and we have it in abundance. What do you think as a recommendation to the state that they could also use to explore these deposits we have?
Sir, government policy. At the time, many years ago, when government insisted the oil companies should use Nigerian-made barite, they came with some excuses to say it's not pure enough, which is unfortunate. All the government needed to have done was to say, fine, it's not pure enough, but make it pure enough. And we set up a situation where we compare standards and make sure they use what we have or improve what we have or change our technology to take what we have. But rather, because we think we can make plenty of foreign exchange from getting them to import this and fill our pockets, we don't think about it. That was the way when tin was selling in the plateau. How many Nigerians had the opportunities? What were the difficulties? You still go to government today as a black man, as a Nigerian, that you have capabilities, and you see one young white boy that comes with a briefcase. Who gets answered? It's the white boy with the briefcase. So these are the problems. It's one, a mentality, two, government policies. Let me digress. In University of Ife, we had the Geological Consultancy Unit. And if you look at that unit, what we did for the nation, we did the first rock polishing studies in this country. At the time we finished, including equipment and everything, it came to about 2 million. What happened? It was shut down. What did Julius Berger do? Who is doing the polishing and selling of those beautiful rock polishing things you see over the country, Abuja and all the other places? We did glass sand, not for only Ondo State, we did for Lagos State. What happened to the glass thing? Nigeria. We did ceramics. What happened to it? Nigerian factor. So name it. The only place where Nigeria has gained some is the oil industry, and there's no indigenous company that is alone. Even over the many years that the oil industry has been on, we have to partner with some other group. Your own is not good enough. Yet your own are everywhere in the world performing. So attitude, both from government and from the populace. Thank you.
Okay,
And
thank
then,
you.
Mr. Mojo, let us get the correct perspective.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to really appreciate this minister, and I will just take us because I knew something was done. Federal government sets to launch Nigeria-made barite, and I will just read it. The federal government did this on the 10th of July. This was disclosed by the Minister of Mines and Steel. You understand that the Nigerian barites will be launched, and the ministry has succeeded in achieving the development of barite from extraction, milling, and bagging stages to support local industries, as well as for exports, adding that Nigeria bagged barite as proudly Nigeria as its logo. That is, it is proudly Nigeria. So let us hope, because I knew that because in the mine and the MAN platform, I knew that Nigerian local content, you understand, they got a consultant who probably does not even know much about it, and those barites group under Patrick kicked, but maybe it has been rectified, but at least that tells you that discussion has moved from where it was before, where they were completely ignored. You understand, now to recognizing that they have. I think we just continue to persevere. We know what obtains and what is in the atmosphere in Nigeria, but perseverance, we break the ceilings.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Maybe Prof or Engineer, ma'am, do you think the Solid Mineral Commission that is presently at the front burner in the National Assembly could serve as could serve as a solution to the bottlenecks we are having in the solid mineral sector?
Let me go for that. I don't believe in organizations, but Nigerians, we love organizations. Because what I remembered some years ago, we renamed and rechristened the ministry, and we started carrying G34 and painted all our vehicle G34, indicating 34 minerals. To me, did it change anything? Did it? So that's not it. What it is for you to have leaders who are ready to step aside as complete regulatory persons, be honest with themselves to say, see, Nigerian government has no business doing business, and provide that enabling environment. See, we created a loan of 2.5 billion naira and matched it up and said, oh, we have 5 billion naira to give back. I keep on asking, how many people have been able to access? The woman that assessed it, one woman that assessed it, the daughter was telling me the story about a week ago, that she went to a meeting and she blackmailed BOI in front of the vice president. And the president, and they were saying, shut down. The vice president, kind guy, said, speak, let me hear. That was why they were able to access it. The bottlenecks are too many. So for me, whether it's Solid Minerals Commission or Ministry of Mines and Steel, those responsibilities of regulatory function can still be carried out when we make the system open. So it's not a question of nomenclature. It's not a question of big offices. It's not go to the Western world. You hardly find a big secretariat like our own that is so big and everything. So that is not what translates to success. I differ completely on that issue, but that's the way we do things in Nigeria. You understand? We because Awal said it in his introduction that everybody is always dreaming of taking. And so the way to take is to have a large office and make it robust. And so that for me, office is not the issue. The issue is the resources, connect people to the resources and make resources available. You understand? For the resources to be got and utilized within the continent. After it's coming up, any serious government should be looking at it that how do we profit, you understand, from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? We will have access to 55 billion You understand? People. And we are connected to 55 countries. You understand? 55 countries. Imagine having a gemstone traveling from Nigeria to Morocco and like that. So for me, I believe that the focus should be in that direction, not in buildings.
Thank you very much for that wonderful exposition. It's unfortunate we can't accommodate Engineer Awal any longer. Professor Bamidele Bankole Akko has been very resourceful to this discussion. The President Miners Association, Honorable Engineer Janet Adeyemi, also want to sincerely appreciate the both of you for standing in.
I'm Women in Mining, not Miners Association. Don't let Ogake.
Sorry, ma. Sorry, ma. For the President of Women in Mining Nigeria. Thank you, both of you, and also Engineer Awal in absentia for making this discussion very robust. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking our time to join this training session. It's a training session that will be useful to all players, all stakeholders in the mining sector. So it's a monthly, it has come to stay. Women in Mining Training Institute has come to stay. Every month we'll have resource persons with capacity to take us through. So many students are supposed to be beneficiaries of this also. So please share the information to your networks, to your groups, to your to any association you belong to. This is a very good platform for us to be. So every third, is it third now? Third Tuesdays of every month we'll be having this. Third Tuesdays of every month we'll be having this. So please, thank you once more and thank you very much. See you next time, same station, same time, same period, same everything. Have a wonderful evening. For those outside Nigeria, have a wonderful afternoon, and bye-bye.
Thank you. We are grateful to all participants. Bye. Yeah. And thank you for a wonderful job.